David here with Figboot on Pens, back again with another fountain pen review. Today I have for you 3 pens from the latest line release from Monteverde, and that would be the Trees of the World. What I'm going to do today is go over the parts and features of these 3 pens, talk about what I care for and what I don't care for about them. I'll show some measurements, size comparisons, and provide a writing sample. Thanks go out to the good folks at Jaffa Brands, the manufacturers and distributors of Monteverde, for providing the pens you will see today for review. On top of that, I will be giving away 2 of these pens. I thought that I would do something a little bit different in regard to the giveaway, so stay tuned near the end of the review to learn how you can make one of these pens your very own. The pen arrives in this box. It has a custom outer sleeve depicting the 3 trees in this series. In regard to the trees, we have the dragon tree. The dragon tree is a real amazing plant. If you cut into the tree, it will secrete a red resin commonly known as dragon's blood. I've seen videos where it is literally gushing out of the tree. It's something very unique in nature. Then there is the Baobab tree. The name of the pen is called the Avenue of the Baobabs. The name refers to a prominent group of baobab trees that line a dirt road in western Madagascar. These uniquely shaped trees with mammoth trunks really make for a striking view, almost like something out of a science fiction movie from some far-off planet. And then finally, there is the giant sequoia. The giant sequoia is found in California and is one of the largest trees on Earth. Okay, a little side note. I live in North Carolina. Behind my house, there is a large common area that is adjacent to 5 or 6 houses. In the middle of this common area, one of my neighbors decided to plant a tree, a California redwood, which happens to get to be one of the tallest trees in the world. First of all, it's a bit bold to plant a tree on property that you don't own. I asked him about it a while back, and he said that a friend had given him a redwood sapling, and he thought it would be neat to see if it would grow out here on the East Coast. I can't say that this guy is the sharpest tool in the shed. I didn't think the thing would survive the first couple of winters, and it looked pretty scraggly for a few years, but after about 4 years, it is rather healthy and growing. Right now, it's about 6 feet tall. Planting this was a very bad idea, but my thinking was that it will be 100 years before this tree is tall enough to reach my house when it inevitably falls down. Until then, I guess we'll just see how tall this tree gets, and I'll let the homeowners association deal with it if it should become an issue. Raising a fuss over a tree wasn't something I needed to do in order to keep harmony on the cul-de-sac. Okay, let's get back to the pen. Inside here, there is a standard Monteverde box. Inside, there is a warranty card as well as a little use and care guide. There is some information on the tree of your accompanying pen. And then inside, we have a pen. Now, actually, let's take a look at all 3 pens. Something unique that I like about this series is that each pen has a different style of resin. It's not just the same thing, but in different colors. The Grand Sequoia has stripes of pearlescent green and black and gray. And then the Dragon Tree has more of a crushed ice look to it with lots of dark blue and deep red. And then the Avenue of the Baobabs has more of the swirled and mixed resin look to it with browns and creams. This is what all 3 of them look like. For the sake of this review, let's focus on my favorite of the group, which is the Avenue of the Baobabs. Of the 3, I think this one looks the most tree-like. And I really like the flowing lines of the light brown and darker cream resin. This is a resin which will vary on each pen. On this one, I like the little blob of cream near the end of the barrel. It kind of reminds me of a knot in the wood. While the resins vary on these pens, the dimensions and parts and features are identical. Let's take a look at the top of the cap. It is flat. I like the patterning this cross-section of the material provides. Then we have the clip. It is chrome-plated, as is the rest of the trim on this pen. I found it to be slightly stiff. It works well in thinner materials, but if you want to use it in thicker materials like a leather pen case, then you need to pinch on the clip a bit to help it along. The cap angles up for about the first 1.5 inches until it straightens out. Then we have a band of walnut wood between 2 chrome-plated bands. I like that they incorporated actual wood in a pen named after trees, but it does seem a little odd that the wood on these pens is not the wood of the tree each pen is named after. Now, apparently the wood of the Baobab tree is very fibrous and spongy. It's more like balsa wood than hardwood, so that wouldn't be good to use in a pen. Giant Sequoia wood is commonly used in many things, and from what I could tell, dragon tree wood could be used as well. But it would have been a little bit odd if two pens used the named wood and one did not. So in relation to that, I guess I would prefer they all use the same wood as opposed to one being mismatched and the other two matching up. After the band, there is a rounded step down to the barrel, which is straight for about the first inch and a half before it tapers down. Engraved on the barrel is Monteverde as well as Trees of the World, and the end of the barrel, like the top of the cap, is flat. The cap twists off in just under 2 rotations, and underneath we have a standard Monteverde No. 6 stainless steel nib. I believe these are Jowo nibs, but what I mean by standard is this is the same stamping Monteverde uses on most of their pens. I do like the unique way the company name is included on the left shoulder of the nib, but I'm not quite sure why the name is on there twice. I can't think of another nib that actually has the name of the company duplicated on it. If you could think of one, let me know in the comments. The nib is available in extra fine, fine, medium, broad, stub, and the Omniflex. And here's a look at the plastic feed. The section is very slightly concave. There is a small step up to the threads and a larger step up to the remainder of the barrel. This section isn't overly long, but I do find it to be comfortable in the hand. My grip does hit up against the resin threads and the step up to the barrel, but I don't find them to be sharp or uncomfortable at all. The cap does post, and while it's on there securely if you leave it alone, it doesn't take much to tap or dislodge the cap from its perch. I do find posting backweights the pen slightly, so I prefer to use this pen unposted. This is a cartridge converter pen. It accepts standard international cartridges and a converter is provided. A couple of cartridges are provided as well. With the metal section housing for this pen, eyedropping would not be recommended. The Monteverde Trees of the World series is available at a large number of retailers and typically retails for $92. I've seen it at a couple of retailers, slightly less than that, so you might want to shop around a little bit. This is a solid pen at that price point. I feel keeping it under $100 was a good decision. If you are looking to fill out your collection with a decent sub-100 offering, then these could be a good option for you. I care for the looks of all 3 models, and as you'll see in the writing sample, I find them to write nicely as well. Okay, in regard to the giveaway, I will be giving away 2 of these pens to viewers. I'll be giving away the Grand Sequoia as well as the Dragon's Blood. For the Grand Sequoia, I'll be running a standard giveaway where you like this video and are a subscriber. Then you click on the link below to a Google form where you leave your name, email address, as well as answering an optional question. Rather than 72 hours I typically give to enter, for this particular contest you will have a week. That's because I will be traveling to California to attend the upcoming San Francisco Pen Show, and then spending some additional time down in San Diego visiting family in the area. If you happen to be at the show this upcoming weekend, the very first person who stops me to say hi and mentions this review will win the Dragon Tree. I'm looking forward to the San Francisco show and hanging out with a different group of folks who don't make it to the East Coast shows. Okay, now it is time for some measurements, size comparisons, and a writing sample. Here we go with some size comparisons for the Monteverde Trees of the World series. First of all, let's take a look at the actual pens in the series. There was the Avenue of the Baobabs, and then there is the Dragon Tree, and then here is the Grand Sequoia. In regard to the other 2, you can see here with the Dragon Tree how it kind of has the crushed ice look to it with some nice blues and reds. And then with the Giant Sequoia, we have some nice pearlescent green and black and gray. And then you've seen it during the review, but then this is the Avenue of the Baobabs that has, I think of the 3, like I said, it has kind of the most wood-like look to it. In comparison with 3 other wood pens, this is what it looks like with the Papier Plume Wetland Cypress. And then here is a Conklin All-American, which is made out of walnut. And then finally, this is a pen I recently reviewed from Ryan Krusak, which was an ebony heartwood sapwood. And that's what it looks like in comparison to the Avenue of the Baobabs. In regard to some non-wood pens, here it is with a Lamy All-Star and a Platinum 3776 Yamanaka. And then one last thing is we have a brand new pen from Bennu that's only available on their website, and that is the Polar Lights. And it's a hand-painted model, and this part actually glows in the dark. It looks really cool. You know what? Actually, here, let's go ahead and charge that up in the lights, and we'll see what that looks like when I turn off the lights. There, you can get a bit of a closer look at that. There's a little bit of light in the room, but you can see how that really shows up nicely. And the glow, I think, really integrates well with the trees and then the sparkling aspects of the pen as well. In regard to some uncapped comparisons, this is what it looks like with the 3776. And the Lamy All-Star. And then finally, here it is with the Conklin All-American. Here we go with the writing sample for the Monteverde. And this is the Trees of the World. And this is the Avenue of the Baobabs. And this is a broad stainless steel nib. And the ink that I'm using today is Mont Blanc Toffee Brown. This is what the ink looks like. It's one of my favorite browns. This is what it looks like in comparison to Faber-Castell's Hazelnut Brown, as well as the Seyss-Koroschnack Chestnut Brown. These are what these 60 milliliter Mont Blanc ink bottles look like. They are colloquially known as the shoe because it looks like a shoe. And they're nice inks as well. And here we go with the rest of the writing sample. I will say this broad nib is very nice. It's very smooth. You're not going to get a lot of line variation out of here, even going sideways. The ink flow on it is very generous. And in regard to reverse writing, you can see that that's not necessarily what that is meant for. And in regard to some fast writing, the feed has no problem in keeping up. It did drip just a little bit there. I think that's just because I had recently re-inked this pen up with this ink and maybe I hadn't cleaned it off completely, but that was the reason for that. So there we have the Monteverde Trees of the World. These are the 3 different models. Don't forget to enter the giveaway, and if you are attending the San Francisco show, say hi, and you will potentially win one of these pens for yourself. And for under $100, I think that these are a good value for the money. Until next time, thanks for watching, and I'll talk to you later.